Welcome to the 30th episode of the Honeybee Knits podcast. My name's Melissa. Today is Tuesday, June 19th, and I am coming to you from southern Ohio, about 45 minutes north of Cincinnati, where I live with my husband and our dog and 2 cats. If you are a new viewer, welcome. I hope you enjoy this podcast. This one should be more of my normal speed than the past couple of episodes. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I love talking to you guys as much as possible. I used to podcast weekly, and I really would love to get back to doing that, but it just hasn't been possible the past couple of weeks. But I'm here today, even though it is past 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night. I was going to try to podcast yesterday, and I was dyeing yarn, and I didn't get done until like 10 p.m. So unfortunately, there was no podcast yesterday. So I have quite a few things to show today. It's going to be one of the longer ones that you guys are used to from back in the day when I used to do 2-hour episodes. It won't be 2 hours, but it'll probably at least be an hour, which I don't know the last time I made it to an hour. I can't remember because I think they've been pretty much 40 or 45 minutes. My dog's over here, so if you see my arm moving, I'm not just moving it for no reason. But anyway, I hope everybody had a great couple of weeks. It's been a few weeks since I podcasted. I've had good intentions and just time got away from me. Summer is very busy for us. Last summer, I was able to keep up with my podcasting schedule, but I had surgery this time last year. Can you guys believe it's been a year already for those of you that have been with me for a while? It's crazy. But I had surgery, so I was off work for a few weeks, so I had a little extra time on my hands. And this year I've been really focusing on getting organized. So whenever I do have some downtime, typically if it's early enough in the day, instead of podcasting, I'm actually doing stuff around the house, which is a plus because I'm getting there. You guys saw last week I got my new shelves up and I am in love with them. I'm going to have to do some reorganization soon because I've had quite a few packages come, but quite a few packages that are coming. Some from you guys, some that I purchased, so I'm pretty excited. But at the same time, I have a lot coming in. I have a little treat for myself today. It's not the healthiest thing in the world, but I needed caffeine and it's been really hot and I hadn't eaten dinner yet, so I figured it was good as time as any to get something kind of bad for you. So anyway, I do want to mention the places that you can find me real quick because I always forget, and I'm also, my watch, I took it off yesterday so I could dye yarn, and I've got a big huge tan line right there, so that's fantastic. But anyway, some places that you can find me. I can be found on Instagram as honey_bee_knits, on Ravelry as Melissa1308, and on Etsy as honeybeenknitsco.etsy.com. And there you can find some of my hand-dyed yarns, and I'm going to have some more stuff come to the shop as far as collaborations. I'm doing 3 collaborations, which I'll talk about at the end of this episode. And then I am also going to have some Honeybee Knits branded stuff soon, some new sock kits, which is exciting. I have a theme in mind, and I think I'm going to release 2 or 3 a month for, I think, 2 or 3 a month for about 2 or 3 months. So there should be about 6 sock kits. So keep an eye out for those. If you go into my Etsy store right now, I have 3 pre-orders going. The first is the July Yarn of the Month Club, which I talked about in the end of my last video. If you stuck around, I am no longer offering 3 and 6 month subscriptions, 1 month at a time, and that starts for July. So that listing is live and ready to go. My other 2 pre-orders that I have out there are actually for advent calendars. So I've had a few people contact me and ask me if I was doing an advent calendar, and I had not decided at the time. I put up a poll on Instagram and it seemed like there was enough interest for me to actually do it, so I put up some pre-orders. But what I did is I created 2 different ones. The first one is 25 Days of Advent, where you will receive 24 mini skeins and 1 full skein of yarn. And the second one is 12 Days of Advent, which is 11 mini skeins and 1 full skein of yarn. And the reason why I did that is for 2 reasons. Some people have contacted me and told me they've already purchased a full advent calendar, but they would like a partial one. So that was a good idea. And the second reason is some contacted me and said they would love an advent calendar, but most advent calendars are out of their price range, so they wanted a cheaper option. So I did put 2 in there, so you can choose whether or not you want the full 25 days or if you want the smaller 12 days. And based on your budget, you can pick whichever one you want. There is no need to purchase both unless you want doubles of the last 12 days, because the 12-day advent is going to be the last 12 days of the 25 advent. So you can go and take a look at those in my shop. They are open now through the end of August. They will close August 31st, so that I have time to order my supplies and start dyeing the yarn. And the reason why I put it to August 31st and not sooner is because I'm actually leaving for vacation. My husband and I and our family, his brothers, are going to Las Vegas on August 20th. So there's no need for me to close it while I'm gone, because I won't be able to dye anything until I get back anyway. All orders will ship by November 1st. So by closing on August 31st, that gives me 2 months to get the packages together. I will say that there will be a few extra goodies in the package, but not for every day. So some advent calendars add an extra goodie per day. I will add a few things here and there, but because of the price points, I did try to keep it as low as possible. For both kits, I am not able to add as much as I would like. However, you will get a few extra goodies. Yeah, so and shipping also on the advent calendars. And I'm sorry, I know this is kind of boring administrative stuff, but we will get to the fun stuff in a few minutes. But the shipping on the advent calendars is calculated through Etsy. I typically do flat rate shipping as a service for my customers, but because of the nature of the box and how much it's going to cost to ship, I did do calculated. However, if I overcharged you on shipping, you will be refunded the day that I ship it out, which will be no later than November 1st. So now that that's done, I also wanted to say thank you to everybody that's been participating in the group knit-alongs. Every quarter I draw a new winner for the Whip It Thursday Cal, and we are coming up quick on the end of the second quarter. We have about a month and a week left, so make sure that if you are, I think that's right, is that right, April, May, August? No, just kidding, you have like 2.5 months. Okay. Hey guys, future Melissa here, and it's not the first time you're gonna see, or the last time there, it's the first time, not the last time you're gonna see future Melissa. So I was editing this and I realized I said that you had like 2.5 months left for the quarter, for the second quarter of your Whip It Thursday. That's not true. You have less than 2 weeks. Quarters means the year split into 4s, not 3s, which means I drew January through March, which means April, May, and June will be drawn at the end of this month. So hurry up, get those whips done, and enter them into the Cal. Everybody that's been participating in the knit-alongs, I announced 12 winners last week, and the 2 winners that I needed the address from have still not contacted me. I'm going to give them 1 more week, and if they have not contacted me, I will redraw 2 more winners for the packages that were won. So if you are... if you participated in the knit-alongs and you think that you may have missed one of my episodes where I talked about a winner and you think it might be you, go back and take a look and make sure you get in contact with me ASAP so that I can send you your package. Please message me through Ravelry. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me when it comes to podcast things. You can the fastest way to get a hold of me is on Instagram. However, the way I get so many Instagram messages, I don't want it to get lost. So make sure you send me your address through Ravelry. I am going to draw new winners if I do not hear from the previous 2 winners on the next podcast, which hopefully is next week. because I have a lot of acquisitions coming in, so I imagine that they'll be here by next week. So even if I don't have any knitting, I'll have some acquisitions to show. And also, I need to draw for the May sock knit along. And I did not do that before I started podcasting. My phone only has like 60%, so I need to get started because I have a lot to show. So what I will do is either pull a winner and announce it at the end of this video, or I will hold off and wait until the next video. But keep knitting your socks, keep entering them in the threads. I don't always pull every month, but I do try to keep consistent. I just got caught up, so I owe a couple of May prizes to you guys. Hey guys, it's Melissa from the future with our hair up because it's hot up here. So here's the deal. I went ahead and picked winners for the May sock knit along because I don't want to forget. And knowing me, I'll forget. So the winners are as follows. Random number generator. I had 35 entries, which is a lot less than last month, but I think that's my fault because I haven't been podcasting and reminding you guys to get your socks in. If you haven't already, knit your socks, get them into the June thread. I think there's only like 6 socks out there, guys, and it's the 19th. Get your socks done. You know what? I was so proud of myself because I thought I did my Desert Vista Dye Work socks early, and I just realized it's the 19th. It's still like the end of the month. What the hell? Anyway. So get your socks done, get them into the thread. But as far as May winners go, we had 35 entries, which means 34 entries because I'm the first post. And I do want to mention that some of these winners have won in the past, which is fine. I use random number generator, so whoever comes up, comes up. So I'm not playing favorites, I promise. Just keep knitting as many socks as you can and putting them in the threads and participating in all the knit-alongs, and I promise you will have a good chance of winning some sort of prize. So the first winner is Peggy, which is Bork P from Oneida, Wisconsin, if I remember. Oneida, Wisconsin. I'm not sure. I've sent you a prize package before. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, you are our package winner this month, so please send me your address again because I don't think I still have it, and I will send you out a package in the mail. Linda, you won again. If you don't know which Linda you are, you should. It's Ostruska. Anyway, it's Aunt Linda. Hi, Aunt Linda. So you won again this month, and you get a pattern of your choice up to $7. So message me, and I will gift that out to you. And then NS Knits in Pieces, which I think is a new winner for us. You also won a pattern. You are from Ontario, Canada, which I know you know where you're from. I'm telling everybody else where you're from. Your name isn't listed, so I don't know your name, but please message me on Ravelry and I will send you a pattern up to $7 US of your choice. You're in Canada, so you might want to look up the conversion rate because you might be able to get a more expensive pattern. I think that's how that works. Not sure. Anyway, so please contact me, let me know what pattern you want, and I will gift it to you. I'm going to go ahead and announce again the winners that I drew last week that I have not received addresses from because I know that you guys watch and maybe you just missed it. The 2 winners, so the first one was the Q1 Whip It Thursday yarn package winner. And that is Yarn Bethy, which is Beth from Louisiana. And she knit the Golden Sand Shawl and Roxy the Hippo. So Beth, please message me your address as soon as possible so I can get that package out to the mail. If I don't hear from you by the time I podcast next, which could be a week or it could be 2 weeks, I'm going to draw a new winner. So actually, no. What will happen is that prize will go back into the prize pool for the Q2 winners because everybody that entered for Q1 won a prize. So what I'll do is I will put that package back in and I will send out 2. I don't know if you noticed while I was podcasting, I speckled with no gloves on yesterday. Anyway, it's probably driving you guys nuts and I never said anything about it. I will send you 2, I will, if Beth doesn't contact me by the time I podcast next, I will have 2 prize packages to go out in the mail for Q2. And then the other winner was for the March sock FOs, and that's IMECOLL. And that's Linda from Pennsylvania. So Linda, if you could please message me your address, I will get you the package out. If I don't hear from you, I will pick another winner from the March FOs sock thread, and we'll go from there. So hopefully I hear from you guys. I think that's it. Okay, I'm going to send you back to past Melissa now. Bye. I just want to mention it's 10:15 at night, so that's how long it's taken me to record. Enjoy the episode. Bye. We'll pull winners for that. The other knit along that we have going is the Whip It Thursday knit along, which I pull quarterly. Make sure that you're working on those languishing whips and getting them entered into the Whip It Thursday thread. I started last week back on my Whip It Thursday project, so you guys will get to see that today. I took a long break from it, so but I do like it because it really, one day a week has really helped me decrease the amount of whips that I have, as long as I can keep myself from casting on new ones. But anyway, I will show that to you in whips. What else? I don't think we have any other knit-alongs going right now, but starting July 1st, I am starting a Honeybee Knits knit-along. So what we'll do is you can knit anything, any pattern, any object with my yarn, enter it into the thread. This is going to be a 3-month knit along because I want people to have time to get their yarn, and also I wanted to give people time to knit more than one object. There are a couple of rules. So first, obviously it has to be with my yarn from my shop. Second, starting July 1st, anything that you have already casted on with my yarn counts as long as it's under 25% completed. I'm not going to police this, but I am giving you 3 months, so I do want people to work on it throughout the CAL and participate, because I'm going to be doing some hashtag stuff on Instagram, and I really want to see some progress photos and finished object photos. And I'm really excited to see that. I see what I knit with, but I don't have enough time in a day to knit with both my yarn and all the other fantastic dyers that are out there. So I decided to do a knit along with my yarn so that I can see how some of your guys' stuff is knitting up. I've seen some of it here and there, but I want to see more of it. So make sure you tag me on Instagram so that I can see that, and also enter it into the Ravelry threads. And I will be putting them on the podcast at the end of the episodes as we go through the knit along. And in addition to that, anybody that enters a finished object will receive a 10% off coupon code to my shop. And if you can relate your project to something bee related, you get an extra entry into the giveaway. So there are a ton of honeycomb patterns out there right now. So we have woolen honey, there's the honeycomb sweater, there's they have honeycomb cows, hats, mitts. So anything bee related or honeycomb related, if you can relate it to that. Also, because I know I'm going to get questions about this, the project does not have to be made out of just my yarn. So if it's a 2 or 3 or 4 color shawl or sweater or something and you have other indie dyers incorporated in that, then that is fine. The one thing that I do ask is that you put in your comments when you're posting who the other indie dyers are, because I would love to see collaborations and see how they work together. So yeah, that's the new knit along coming July 1st, which I'll remind you guys when that gets closer. But we're already June 19th. Where has the month gone? It's been crazy. Been really busy, and June and July are really hard months for me because Jason's side of the family, first of all, May and June obviously are Mother's Day and Father's Day, but then Jason's side of the family, all of their birthdays are in June and July. So it's like weekend after weekend, we constantly have something going on. So yeah. So I talked enough about that. I will get into more shop news and more chit chat at the end of the podcast, but we're 15 minutes in, so let's go ahead and get started with some finished objects. I say some, but I only have one. And you guys never saw this as a whip once again because it's my Desert Vista Dye Works socks, and I casted them on a day before I had to have them done. So I finished them in less than 2 days, and here they are. So you guys have probably seen this before. The Grocery Girls made this colorway very popular. But this is Desert Vista Dye Works in the Lisa Frank colorway. And I've had it for a few months now, and it just really, you know me, with my Desert Vista Dye Works socks, I try to theme them every month. But you know, the last couple months, I just have really wanted to knit what I wanted to knit and what's called to me. And so that's what I've been going with, whatever makes me happy. And I think the fact that I liked these so much as I was knitting them helped me get them done in 2 days. Because I literally cast them on, how many days were in May? I think there's 30 days in May. So if there's 30, I don't know, January, February, March, April, May, 31 days, right? Okay, so 31 days in May, and so I cast these on the 30th and finished them well past midnight on the 31st, so into the 1st for me, but she lives in Arizona time and I'm on Eastern time, so I literally put these in the thread at 2:59 a.m. my time, which is 11:59 p.m. her time. So I got these in right on the dot, and I stayed up until 3 o'clock in the morning to finish them. And I would have had them done like an hour sooner, but I broke my steek on one of my afterthought heels. So, which was, I'm not gonna lie, it was a pain in the ass to fix, but when I really took the time and slowed down and paused The Office, because I was watching The Office, to fix it, it was not a problem. So yeah, so I'm really happy with them, and I love the contrasting mini. I really wanted, and the bag's over there so I can't get to it, but I really wanted to do the contrasting mini for the cuffs too, but I didn't know if I was gonna have enough. After I finished, I realized I would have had enough, but I also want a square of this in my blanket, which takes 3 grams. So I don't know that had I done the cuff, because I do a 20-row cuff on each sock, I don't know that I would have had enough. So anyway, I'm really happy with these, and I can add them to my sock drawer. And as soon as a lot of people ask, I don't typically wear my socks. I wear them sometimes in the winter. I didn't really wear them this winter, because I don't know why, I just didn't really wear them too often this winter. I think I maybe wore 4 pairs, and I have way more than 4 pairs. I'll have to take a picture sometime and show you guys. But once my sock drawer is filled, I'm gonna start knitting different sizes for other people. I have a goal to have one entire drawer in my dresser filled with hand knit socks in my size. So once I hit that goal, which I'm a little over halfway, then I will start making socks for other people. Not that I won't make socks for other people now, I just don't do it unless I think about it. So basically, I don't plan out my Desert Vista Dye Works socks. Pretty much any socks I cast on, if I don't have a plan for it, I know I'm knitting it for my size feet, which are 7.5. And compared to my friends and family, I'm quite small. Most of my friends and family are between 8.5 and 10.5, so they will not fit my 7.5 size socks. So once I fill out my drawer, then I will consciously make the effort for my Desert Vista Dye Works socks every month to be a different size. But until then, that's what these are so pretty. I love these so much, and they're sparkle. I forgot to mention that, but you guys know by now I pretty much only do sparkle anymore. I say that, and then the pair I have this month is not on sparkle. So that's the FO that I have. So let's get into whips. I have 3 whips to show you, and I'm trying debating on what to show you first, but I'm gonna go with the order that I worked on them. So last episode, I showed you guys the tiny eensy weensy 2 rows that I had done on my Comfort Fade Cardi. I shouldn't have pulled this out because now this is going to be all I want to work on. And I showed you the yarn I was going to use. So I've been working a lot on this, guys, and I took some time for myself to kind of relax and just, you know, get into a good mental space. So I had a lot of knitting time in the last couple weeks. Not as much as I would like or as what I've had in the past, but enough to make some progress. I'm trying to figure out the best way to show this to you guys. So here it is. So this is what I have done so far. I just finished my last fading section, and the pattern says that I need to knit my last color for so many inches. I'm not going to say how many because I don't want to give away the pattern, but I need to knit this for so many inches. Actually, it's just the one section. It says I need to knit for 5¼ inches before I start the ribbed edging. I am going to knit I have about 1 inch, and I'm going to knit about another 2 to 3 inches before doing the ribbing because I don't want it to be too long. So I will be cutting. I won't have as big of a section as I had with these colors up here because these were each 5¼ inches in between the fading sections. It won't be as large, but I will have the garter at the bottom, which will help. So once I do the garter, then I have to pick up, I don't know which comes first, but I know there's 2 things that are left once I do the garter and the cast off on the body. I have to pick up along the edges to make the garter shawl collar. I think it's called a shawl collar. It's the big, thick collar that folds over, and then I've got to do the sleeves. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with how it's turning out. I don't know if I mentioned in my last podcast, I don't know at what point I realized this. I think it might have been when I was doing a live video on Instagram, but I had conferred with Levi and my husband and a few other knitters. My husband's not a knitter, but I asked him what his thoughts were on what size I should make. And I'm going to just put it out there. I have a 55-inch bust. I have less than a 55-inch bust, but a 55-inch bust knitting the sweater with no ease typically fits me really well with the gauge that I have. So it's basically the perfect fit around my chest. The problem that I have is that when I block, I try not to be with my sweaters. I try to just lay them flat. But no matter what, I keep pulling and tugging. So when I block, I always block larger than, no matter how on my gauge is, when I block the little gauge swatch, I always block my sweaters longer or wider than what I'm supposed to. So they always grow. In addition to that, I've been losing some weight. And I plan to lose about another 15 to 20 pounds before Rhinebeck. And if I continue to go at the rate that I am going, then that's probably pretty accurate. That's probably what I'll be at. And I want to wear this in Rhinebeck. That's why I was making this, because hi, it's future Melissa again, and I'm editing this, and I realized I went on a tangent, and so at the dramatic sigh, I'm going to pause to insert why I was talking about my bust size to begin with. I had decided after talking with other knitters and with Levi that because of the weight loss and because of the blocking, the aggressive blocking that I do, Prince always has to make an appearance. Because of that, I had decided to go down a size on the sweater, but because I was casting on in the car and not paying attention, Levi and I were literally talking in the car about me casting on a smaller size, a size down, the 50 instead of the 55, I believe it was, or maybe it was like 52 instead of the 55, and I cast it on the 55 anyway, so it's going to be oversized instead of fitted like I wanted it, but whatever. If you're new, you have to go back and watch my older episodes. I have been wanting to knit. I'm going to Rhinebeck for the first time, and I know that last year Rhinebeck was hot and warm and people weren't able to wear their sweaters. But on the off chance that it's cool, I would love to have a sweater for every day that I'm there. I have 2 sweaters for myself right now. So I have the So Faded cardigan, I have the So Faded sweater, not cardigan, and then I have the Bubbles pullover. So This will be my third when I finish this. And then I want to do the Flax Light by Tin Can Knits with some yarn that I got from Mitchell's Creations. Hi, Tara. And it's yarn that Levi had specially made for us. And it's called This Is For My Niches. And, oh, it's over there. So I would like to make a flax light out of that. And then I would also like to make a sock arm sweater because I purchased the kit from Mustache Yarns. So those would be my 5. My needle tip just fell off, so don't know how that happened, but I need to fix it before I lose some stitches. Okay. Oh, better. So, can't remember what I was saying. That being said, I have so much sweater yarn. So first of all, I have like 4 sweaters worth of yarn, 4 or 5 from Knit Picks. I have quite a few sweaters that I want to knit from their color workbook from last year that I bought yarn for. And then I also have a honeycomb sweater that I started. That is not going to be done by Rhinebeck. I'm hoping that's going to be a Rhinebeck knit that I take with me to knit on while I'm there. It's cabled, it's paneled, I have to seam it together. I've never done anything but a top-down sweater. So this is my first cardigan. So this is the first time I've had a purl in a sweater. So, yeah, as far as the honeycomb sweater goes, not going to be finished before Rhinebeck, but hopefully I'm knitting it in Rhinebeck. All I have is the ribbing done on the back panel. That's it. So there's that. I want to make what did I just buy yarn for? I just got yarn from Lolo Did It I purchased yarn, Whole Lot of DK, for the Beekeeper's cardigan. I want to make that. And I have acquisitions I'll show you. I want to I have purchased yarn to make a tweed sweater. Plus I have 2 or 3 other sweater quantities in indie dyed yarn. So I have plenty of sweater yarn, I have plenty of sweater plans, and I think I've mentioned this before, between now and October, I'm going to be like all the sweaters. So I'm going to have a sock project, I'm going to have a Whip It Thursday project, and a sweater. That's pretty much all I'm going to be working on. I want to get back to my Cozy Memories blanket, but to be honest, socks have been giving me what I need to get through scrappy projects. I know it's not scrappy, but like the garter projects. So eventually I will get back to my Cozy Memories blanket, but I doubt that I'll start anything on it before October, because I talk about October and people are like, oh, it's so far away. It's really not. We have July, August, and September, and then October. Less than 4 months. Literally, I booked the house 3 months ago. We booked the house 3 months ago. So it's already been 3 months. And I feel like I just did it yesterday. So I know that it's going to be here before I know it. And I have a Las Vegas trip in between. The summer's already booked between birthdays and Kings Island trips and aquarium trips, because we have season passes. Well, we have annual passes to the aquarium and season passes to Kings Island. So our summer is booked. My husband just started a new job, which I'll talk about in Chit Chat. We have things that need to be done around the house. So before I know it, it's going to be July or August. Before I know it, it's going to be August. And it's going to be Stitches Midwest, which I'm probably not going to make it to. But I think I'm going to try to swindle Laura and Alicia to do some shopping for me like they did last year. I basically gave them some money. I sent them money and said, pick out something you think I'll like. Because it made me feel like I was a part of the experience, but I didn't have to pay for, gas in a hotel, and I still got to get something that I could remember from Stitches Midwest. And one day I will get there. I think next year, I think next year, since I'm doing Rhinebeck this year, I think next year I'm going to try to do, I've done quite a few already this year. I've done Simply Sock Yarn, I've done Green Castle, I didn't do Kentucky Fiber Fest this year, but I'm doing wool gathering. So I think next year I'm going to do Stitches Midwest and Rhinebeck. Or not Rhinebeck, Stitches Midwest and Maryland Sheep and Wool. So those are my 2 goals for next year. So anyway, what was I saying? This, my friends, is where I realized I went off on a tangent. I don't remember what I was saying. So anyway, I'm hoping that this will be done by the next podcast. Let me rephrase that. If I podcast in a week, I'm hoping to have the shawl color done and the sleeves only left. If I podcast in 2 weeks, I'm hoping that this is completely done. After I finish my Desert Vista Dye Works socks for this month, this is going to be my main focus. So I'll probably pick this back up on Friday and Saturday. And probably just work on this all weekend. Look how pretty. I love this so much, guys. Also, if you're interested in purchasing one of these, please let me know, because I am eventually going to do dyed to order kits. I was waiting to put the kits up until after I finish the cardigan so that I can take pictures of a sample. But if you're antsy and you want them now, let me know. I did write down the recipe for all of these, so I just don't have colorways names for them, but I can make colorway names. So if you're interested in this, it's 4 colors. And the balls look a little raggy because they've been through a lot. But there's this one. And also, did I mention it's past 8 p.m. so I have a lot of shadows because I'm using unnatural lighting. So, but the colors are pretty true. You just get a few dark shadows in there. So if you look over here, this is the true color versus this, because you see the shadow over here, which if I hold it back, you don't get as much shadow. But to see it up close, there we go, over here. It's correct colors. So there's A, here is B, and C, and then D. So those are the 4 colors in that kit. And if you are interested in a different color scheme but the same patterning, like the same speckledness or fade type, I guess, let me know, because I can switch out. Some examples would be brown as the background color instead of gray, pink instead of blue, purple instead of blue. Yeah, so we can work something out. Just message me and let me know if you're interested, and I can figure out what you're looking for and give you a quote, because this was one of my favorite things to dye up ever. But it does take a lot of yarn, and it also depends on the size of sweater that you're making as to how many skeins you need. So I don't want to dye up a whole bunch of skeins for one kit, and I would also rather dye them all up at the same time so that it's all the same dye lot. For example, this blue and this blue, I dyed at the exact same time so that they would match. But anyway, yeah, I'm really happy with how that's turning out. And I can't wait to work on it more. And I have that in my Lobby Anime fringe field bag, which I have become a little fringe field bag obsessed. Just seeing acquisitions. But, well, actually, I got the last 2 that I needed for my collection. I'm still looking for another pink one. If anybody has one that they would like to sell, or knows where I can find one. I know it's a long shot because it took me almost a year to find the one that I did purchase, and I purchased it used, which I don't mind. If it's used, just let me know. But I am looking for one more, so if anybody has one. But I really love, I think the yellow, I was telling my husband, you guys know how much of a pink fan I am, but this yellow has my heart. Like, I think this is my favorite one that I've gotten out of all of them. And they have a new one coming out on the 29th. How exciting. I'll be getting it, in case you were wondering. Okay, so the next project I'm going to show you is my Whip It Thursday project, which is in my bag by Hugh Loco with some cute little elephants on it. And I'm going to show you what it's supposed to look like first. This is my Outlander shawl. And it was a knit-along. It's supposed to be like a weekend-long knit-along through Jimmy Bean's Wool. I don't know if you've ever seen this. And I don't know how much they do it anymore because I stopped purchasing the kits because I was purchasing every one and not able to keep up with them because they had multiple ones on the same weekend. So basically when there's a TV show that launches, where they launch all the episodes at once, like on Showtime or HBO or Netflix or Hulu, and it's kind of like a fandom. Ooh, I could enter this into the Knit for Brains fandom cal. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But so anyway, this is my Outlander shawl by Unraveled Designs and Yarn by Rachel Rodden. And here's the pattern. Oh, that is a really bad shadow, but you get the gist. So Outlander shawl, and this was a kit that I purchased from Jimmy Bean's Wool. I've already said that. And I was there for a while. I was purchasing like every single one of them, and this was like a year before I started podcasting, guys. So I haven't purchased one in like 2 years now, which I'm really proud of myself because these were my addiction originally. I didn't mention my hair was really pretty and straight today, and I had to go to the doctor's office for a regular follow-up appointment, and I came out and it was pouring down rain, and I had to go over across the street to get an x-ray on my foot, which again I'll talk about later. And it was still pouring down rain, so I got soaked and my hair curled up. My hair curled up, so I just left it. Whatever. I tried to look nice for you guys this week. Last time I had it up in a bun, so at least this is an improvement. So I purchased this kit, and I have those exact colors. Oh my goodness, it's hard to see, isn't it, with that? It's so hard to tell because there's no lighting in here whatsoever. But I think they don't have another big picture that stretched out, so I'll just show this one again so you can kind of get the idea, but with the other colors. Anyway, so I worked on this for a couple hours last Thursday, and I finished section 1, and I got quite a bit into section 2. So I'm really happy with how this is turning out, and I really love this pattern, and I always knew that I did, so I'm really happy that I'm actually working on it again. But here it is. So it's getting darker outside, so it's getting harder to see. I'm so sorry. I need to turn on my ring light. There's just... I'm probably gonna have to. I'll be back. I'm gonna go turn it on. If I use my ring light, there's 2 problems. 1, the glare in my glasses. 2, it makes me look super oily and super red. So I'm gonna have to start wearing like some powdered makeup. But yeah, this is much better. You guys can see the colors, and I don't even have the ring light turned up that high, to be honest. But here it is. Oh my goodness, yeah, that looks really good. So this is what I have. So when I picked it back up, I was probably right here somewhere. So I've knit, let's see, it's hard to stretch out. I've knit about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches on it. The construction is really interesting because, first of all, I'm not a fan of the edging, and I'm assuming that's gonna block straight, but I don't like the edging, but it's because of the increases that it's like that. So you increased like every other row or every row up in this section, but once you got down here into this section, you increased like every 4 rows, or something weird like that. Or no, you didn't increase at all. So like you knit the whole section, didn't increase until the last row of that section, and you increased every other stitch. And then you knit this entire section without increases. So I don't like that. It's making an odd shape, and I'm sure it'll block out and it'll look fine when I'm done, because I obviously liked it in the pattern, but I'm not a fan of how it's, I can't really stretch it out very well. I'm using my Knitter's Pride Melodies, which are probably my favorite set of Knitter's Pride needles ever. No, they are my favorite set. Followed closely by the Knitter's Pride, what was? So I'm using my Knit Pro Zings, which are my Knitter's Pride Zings, and these are the US 5 3.75 millimeter. These are my favorite, followed closely by Knitter's Pride Royales, which are wood, but they have metal tips, which I really enjoy using those for slipperier projects, because I get the feel of the metal tip for speed when I'm knitting, but my stitches don't slide as easily as they do on metal needles, which I prefer. So price wise, I would much rather purchase, if I had to, okay, so needle recommendations. I'm gonna do a whole segment on needle recommendations, because I have a lot of interchangeable sets, and I've used a lot of different kind of needles, and I actually have 2 more sets coming. One is not interchangeable, but one is, and I'll wait until I use those so I can do a review on those as well. But real quick, just quick recommendation if you're looking for something. So price wise, for the product that you get, ChiaoGoo interchangeables are the best that I've had. Followed closely by Zings. I much prefer the cable on the, not Zings, but Melodies. I much prefer the cable on the, this is really driving me nuts. I much prefer the cable on the ChiaoGoos over the Knitter's Pride, but I do really like my Knitter's Pride Melodies. My favorite overall is ChiaoGoos because of the price. But if money wasn't an object, my Diet Crafts are my favorite, especially since they just got the wire-coated cables, because that was the one downside to their product, was their cables, because I didn't like their cables very much. But now I love the wire-coated cables. So anyway, this will go into acquisitions, but I did get this fringe bag. It's one of the limited edition ones. So this was the last limited edition one that I needed. And I also was able to find, I'll just show you real quick. The same person I purchased that from also had the black. And I have been looking for the black for a long time too, because they stopped making these. So the limited edition one had never been used. This one had been slightly used, which I'm fine with because these hold up really well. And you can't even tell that it had been used. So I officially have all the regular ones. I don't have any of the wax canvas ones. Don't know if I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. But if you have a wax canvas one and you do not like it and you are looking to sell it, let me know, because I potentially might be interested in purchasing it to try it out. I know they still have the camo one available in their shop, but I would more be interested in getting the plaid one, which I know that they don't sell anymore. So let me know. That and the pink one. All right, so my next, I need to stop talking now. You guys think I'm crazy. My next project I'm going to show you is a hoe, almost a hoe, not quite a hoe, but it's my June Desert Vista Dye Works socks. And it's getting blown out a little bit because of the lighting, but I can't turn my ring light off because it's too dark in here. But sorry, I don't know what to do about the lighting. It's always better when I hold it back. So this is my June Desert Vista Dye Works socks. My label's over there. I can't remember what this is called, but this was her exclusive skein that you got only if you knit all 12 of the, so one pair of socks in her yarn a month for 12 months last year. So I got this for completing the every month last year. So it's probably not something I would have purchased on my own, but I mean, I like how it's turning out. So again, I have to hold it back here. So I have the tube done. I still have to put in my afterthought heel, which I'm nervous because I didn't realize until after I cast it off the toe that I was at my dad's for Father's Day and I was just knitting along, and I realized when I got home I forgot to mark where my heel goes. So I don't know if anybody's ever tried to read their knitting, but when it comes to a sock, it's not as easy as you might think because my eyes get lost because all the stitches look the same. And I think that I'm going straight across by marking the heel, but I can't tell until I cut it. And the reason why I mark it the way I do, let me see if I can turn this off for a minute. The shadows. Guys, I don't know what to do. Okay, so the reason why I mark it the way I do, you'll see I have 6 stitch markers. So if you want to learn how to do an afterthought heel, you must use the Kirby Werby. You don't have to, but it's the best one that I found, the Kirby Werby afterthought heel tutorial. And she has you mark each side of your heel. So in this case, 30 stitches for me because I decreased down to 60 stitches. So 30 stitches. So the very last stitch on either side of the heel for one row, as well as the middle stitch for one row, knit a row, and then on the third row, so you mark the first row, knit a second row. On the third row, you do the same thing. Mark the stitch on either side and mark the middle stitch. Because what you do is you actually snip the row in between and you pull the yarn out to create the gap. You don't do that until your needles are inserted first, but that's where the gap goes. So what happens is if you don't mark it correctly and you don't go straight across, when you're ripping, you're going to either lose a stitch or you're going to be too high. You're going to be too high or low with your needle basically when you pick up the stitches across, which is going to cause problems, which is what happened on my June socks, and that's why my steek broke, because I had mismarked one of the rows. So I'm very nervous about this heel because I marked it after the fact, and it took me probably a half hour to figure out where these little markers needed to go because I kept adjusting. So, and I'm still not 100% sure that it's correct. But, so this is my sock puppet. Hello. See, I make my socks so tiny that I can't even make a proper sock puppet. They're too small. Let's see. Your foot is supposed to be from elbow to wrist, right? But this doesn't have the heel in yet, so it's a lot shorter than, because the heel is like 2 inches, right? So yeah, that's about right. So once I get the heel in, it'll look much longer. Right now it looks super short. But yeah, so there's my first one. And then I started to cast on my second one. I only got a few rows done on the cuff. I need to do more, which I'll probably sit and knit on it while I talk to you guys, so I'm going to kind of leave it out. I was wanting, let's see, get started. I wanted to finish this, but I was getting so tired. It was Father's Day, because so Father's Day was Sunday. Saturday I had cast on and knit to the heel, and then Sunday when I went to my dad's, we were just sitting talking, and I got through to the end of, I did the foot and then I did the toe, and then I realized I didn't bring anything with me except for my knitting, which means I didn't have a needle to Kitchener. And by the time I had texted Levi and told him this, and by the time he responded and said, hey, look up the tutorial for how to do a Kitchener without a needle, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know there was tutorials on that. But by the time he let me know, it was too late. We were at dinner, and then Jason had asked me to drive home because he was tired, so there wasn't going to be any knitting on the way home. So I got home and I Kitchenered the toe, and then that's when I realized that I did not mark the heel, so I had to go back and do that. And then I casted these on and knit a few rows, and I was just exhausted. You know, all this should be in chit chat. I'm going to probably say it again. I'll talk more about why I was so tired later in chit chat. Let's get into acquisitions. So I showed you my 2 new fringe bags, and I have, where's the other skein at? Did I drop it somewhere? I have 2, 3, 4, okay, so 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 skeins, but some of them are sweater yarn. So let me open I was in Simply Sock Yarn, in Fort Wayne at Simply Sock Yarn. I wanted to buy this sweater quantities worth of yarn. And Levi talked me out of it because he was supposed to be helping me stay accountable. And then Laura and Alicia showed up, and Molly. And Laura and Alicia, I love shopping with them because, and if you don't know, they have the Knit for Brains podcast and the Knit for Brains Etsy shop. But they're major enablers, and it's fantastic because they're like, get it, you need it. You'll knit it eventually. I love it. So, which is probably why I went so crazy when we went to Greencastle. But anyway, so I had convinced myself to buy it, but then I started going around and I started seeing some combinations that I really liked. I was looking for like a mauve combination, and I showed all that yarn on my last podcast, so if you missed that, go take a look at that. But I found a lot of yarn that I did really want and was different from what I needed, and I had like a million sweaters quantities already, so I really didn't need this one. So I didn't get it. And then Molly goes, well, you know, it's a solid on tweed base that you can just dye it yourself. And I'm like, that is so smart, Molly. I was like, you were right. I'm going to buy the tweed from my supplier and dye it myself. A couple weeks went by, didn't buy the tweed from my supplier, didn't dye it myself. But I did go on their website and buy it off their website. So I went to simplystockyarn.com. And, well, first I went to huloco.com, and I looked for the yarn, because it's Huloco yarn, and I looked for it on her website, and she only had 2 or 3 available, and I needed 5, and so I gave it up that week, and then the next week I was still thinking about it. I couldn't get it out of my head, which I haven't been able to get the sweater out of my head since the grocery girl showed it like a year ago. Tracy made a sweater out of it. I'm going to make the exact same sweater out of this yarn. I don't remember the name. I think it's called Light Rain or Waiting for Rain or something to do with rain. Or maybe it's something to do with ivy. I don't know, but it has like a turtleneck collar on it, and I really, really like it, and it's beautiful. And so I couldn't get it out of my head, and I went to simplystockyarn.com because I wanted to buy something, and this is before I went crazy. And I was like, you know what? I really still want that, and it's been like a month and a half. I didn't purchase anything in May. So I went out and I purchased it, and I'm so happy I did because I love it so much. I love it, and I really want to make that sweater. So this might be a Rhinebeck sweater. At this rate, I want like 10 Rhinebeck sweaters. So more than likely, it's probably not going to, because I'm trying to get the simple ones done. The ones that I know that I can just whip out, because not only does it accomplish a goal because I want that sweater with that yarn, but it helps me reach my Rhinebeck goal, and also it decreases the amount of yarn that I have in my stash, specifically sweater quantities. I spent so much time last year griping about how I have way too many single skeins and I needed more sweater quantities, and that was my focus this year. Well, I think that I accomplished that focus because I have bought more sweater quantities this year than I have in my entire life. But anyway, so I'm really happy with it. I'm excited to make the sweater, and it's my first tweed. So I've never had a tweed before, and if I have, I haven't knit with it. So hopefully you guys will see this soon. So I need to put that over here because I need to put all this away when I'm done podcasting. I also purchased this from, so last week I also purchased this from Teeny Button Studios. I hear so many people talk about Teeny Button, and I started following her on Instagram quite a while ago, but I never really catch her updates or see when she posts things until after the fact, and then they're gone. Well, she posted about this. There have been some celebrity deaths due to suicide recently, and it's really awful. It's really, really awful, and it just goes to show you that mental health, it just goes to show you that if you struggle with a mental health problem, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, it affects everybody. And I think what people are finding out is there are way more of us out there that struggle with anxiety and depression than ever before, or we ever knew about before. And so on one hand, it's good because not good that they and their families had to go through that unfortunate experience, but it is bringing me more awareness to it, which is good. I had a cousin who killed himself after struggling with drug addiction for years. He was actually in a treatment facility. Well, not a treatment facility. It's had been to his treatment facility several times, and they didn't work. And the one time he actually got clean, believe it or not, because sometimes drugs are easier to find in prison than they are on the streets. But he was clean. He had done some stupid stuff and was in prison for a few years, and he was clean when he got out. And then unfortunately, about a year later, he was reintroduced to it. After he had already started a relationship with somebody he really loved, and that person had a child, and she said, no, this isn't gonna be around my kids. So he actually went to a private, I say facility, but it was a pastor in West Virginia that my cousin was friends with his son that owned a small business out on a farm, and he said, come, I've been where you are, come stay with me on my farm, work with me on my business, I'll pay you, I'll give you room and board, and you can have a safe place to go through what you need to go through to get your life together so you can be with your family. So he went out there, and I think it was just too much for him, and he wasn't getting the therapy that he needed. It was a safe place for him, but it wasn't a good place to detox because he wasn't getting the specialized treatment, and the level of his addiction really, he probably should have had some drugs in his system. You know, I don't know exactly how it works, but I know sometimes when they're weaning you off drugs, they do it slowly. And unfortunately, he was too much in his head, and he was struggling with anxiety and depression and coming to the reality of everything that had happened while he was high, and he killed himself. And it was a really horrible thing for our family. His parents struggled with addiction. My grandparents raised him. He was a son to my grandfather. And honestly, my grandfather got really, really sick afterwards. And he was never the same, and my grandfather passed away about a year later. And it's been a while now, so I can talk about it, but my grandfather's death was like the hardest thing that I had ever been through. I had never experienced loss as an adult. I know this is getting so depressed. I'm sorry. I should have saved this for chit chat, guys. This is acquisitions, but anyway, I'll try to move on. But, you know, this hit home for me. And Teeny Button had created a colorway where she was donating some of the proceeds. And it's called Live Colorfully. And it's a Kate Spade reference, obviously. And yeah, so it's very natural with some very light speckles and a contrasting green mini. And I think this is perfect. I think it's perfect to shed light on, you know, I think it's a great interpretation of, you know, and I don't know what she was thinking when she dyed this, and I don't know if this was her interpretation of this, but to me, this kind of reminds me of how it feels when you're in a very depressive state. You feel very alone, and I think by there being little specklings, it kind of reminds me of kind of the blank feelings you have, if that makes sense. If you've ever been in a depressive state, I think you'll understand. It's a lot of people call it a dark place, but for me, it's a very lonely place, not necessarily dark. So anyway, I think it was represented beautifully in this sock kit. So I'm excited to have a copy of this, and I believe she's making more and still selling them. So if you would like to get a copy of this, if you would like to get a scan of this, go to www.teennybuttonstudios.com, see if she has any of her shop. Either she was doing pre-orders or she was going to do a re-release, but either way, check out her Instagram, because she announces all of her updates on there. So again, gonna do this light thing again. I don't know. There you go. You can see the speckles, but it's just gonna blow it out so bad. This is what I get for podcasting at 8 o'clock at night. It's probably 9 o'clock now. So, sorry that I got depressive. We'll bring it up by showing you these. So somebody went to a fiber event. I don't know where it was. And they posted pictures from the fiber event of some of the vendors. And they posted a picture of Yarnbird Studios, or the Yarnbird's truck. And I've been to the Yarnbird's truck several times. It's a traveling yarn store. They go to a lot of the festivals. You can, like if you have a knit group knit together, knitting group, and you want to have the Yarnbird's truck come out, you can call her and make reservations for her to come out to you, so you guys could do some shopping. But anyway, they had a picture of the Yarnbird's truck, and she carries a lot of different indie dyers, and she rotates the indie dyers and adds indie dyers pretty frequently. So this dyer, I had not seen at her truck yet. And oh my gosh, I saw the pictures and I was like, I need to find out what dyer that is. So I originally messaged the, comment on the photo, and I don't think they responded, or maybe they didn't respond fast enough because I had to have it now. But eventually I went to the Yarnbird's website, which was very difficult to find because it's not Birds, B-I-R-D-S, it's Birds, B-Y-R-D-S. So if you're looking for it, make sure you spell it right, or because there's a ton of Yarnbird's trucks out there or something, or shops. So this is called A Whimsical Wood Yarn Co. And if you have not seen her yarn, you need to go check it out. And it's A Whimsical Wood yarnco.com. And her, first of all, the colors are vibrant. They're crazy. I love them so much. But her yarn names are hilarious. There was one I really wanted, but if I bought it, I wouldn't have been able to say it on the podcast because it was pretty inappropriate. But I did buy these two. These were my two favorites. And they are different colorways. It's blowing out. Let's see if we can get it to focus. so that it doesn't blow out. But these are crazy gorgeous. Crazy gorgeous. Let's see if I bring it closer what happens. I think it's pretty good. Let's see. There we go. These are so pretty. So this one is called Turn the Lights On. I Can't Hear. And I love it. I love it. Let's see if we can get it to not do the shininess on it. I don't know, guys. I don't know. There we go. But now you got shadows. I don't know what's better. So I'm sorry. I won't keep switching back and forth because some people told me that drives them nuts. But it is super pretty and I love it. And it's a 75-25 base. And then this one is called Turn the Music Down. I can't see. So turn the lights on. I can't hear. And turn the music down. I can't see. I love it. It's crazy. I love those names. Cracks me up. They're very similar, but because they have some of the same colors in them, but they are very different. This one's more rainbowy. Yeah, they got, oh my goodness. These will probably be socks, but I mean, I could see these as a shawl if I had a contrasting color to go with them. But anyway, so that was my last acquisition for this week. I have so many. I have so many coming. I found a few D-stashes. Purchased a few sweater quantities, a few needle sets. It's been bad, but I'm gonna get better. So real quick, I just wanted to show you for the sake of showing you. I know you guys are tired of seeing old FOs, so I'm probably not gonna show these anymore after this podcast. But I finally blocked everything and weaved in the ends. I have one shawl left to reblock. I blocked it before, but I don't like the way I blocked it. So I'm going to reblock it and weave in the ends. But other than that shawl, I'm all caught up. So the first thing is this hat. You guys have seen the hat before, but I wove in the ends and I added a pom-pom and I love it. And it's going to be a great Christmas gift. And this is with my March Yarn of the Month colorway Copper Beaches. So I love how this turned out. If you want the hat pattern name, go to my old podcast, it's in there. And also Kitchen Clutter makes these hats and sells them on Etsy, and she has all the pattern information below. So if you're interested in this patterned hat, go check that out. I blocked and wove in the ends on my mom's Mother's Day shawl, which I'll have to get to her now that it's done. So that's my Neapolitan. This was one of my Whip It Thursday projects. So now that it's blocked, you can really see how beautiful it is. And I can fold it up. And I was going to say fold it up and put it away, but I need to fold it up and give it to her. Which I did give it to her on Mother's Day. And I told her I had to take it back so I could block it and weave it in. So she's getting it a month and a half later. 2 months later. I don't know. This is my For the Love of a Daughter shawl that I knit using my After the Storm colorway, which is like a rainbow. Oh, it smells really good. I used Tough Woolen's vanilla almond. It smells so good. So it blocked out beautifully. It's much larger when it blocks out. And I really like how that turned out. So that's going to be a great Christmas gift. It's on my sparkle base. Did I mention this is the For the Love of a Daughter shawl by Crafty Mama Designs, which is done. She also has candy coated yarns on Etsy. And then I blocked and wove in the ends on my Adventurous Wrap by Amba O'Brien. And I used my Arkansas Yarn Company 2017 Advent Calendar to knit this. This was my first Whip It Thursday finished object for the year. So yeah, I really like how it turned out, and it's a nice big wrap. And again, it'll be a great Christmas gift. I don't normally keep, it's rare that I keep something that I knit for myself. I'm a product knitter. I've talked about this before. I like knitting the product more than I like wearing the product. So I guess I'm a process knitter. Okay, this next one, guys. I showed this on the podcast before as a finished object, but blocking makes a world of difference. Look at this. This is probably my favorite shawl I've ever knit, and I've knit a lot of shawls. I am in love with this. I love it so, so much. I can't even express like how beautiful, how much I like, I don't even know. So these are all my Honeybee Knits yarn. So this is the Exploration Station by Stephen West. I hated knitting this. I want to knit another one. There's something about this shawl that when you block it, it just transforms. And this is everything I wanted. It took me a long time to knit the Exploration Station because I was picky about the yarn. I wanted to knit it for like 3 years before I finally did it. And then Levi's like, let's do a Stephen West knit along and we'll knit our Exploration Stations. And I was like, okay. And I love it so much. So the first color I used, which is, you can see better in the bottom, is Forever Friends. And then this one is, pink is my signature color, or no, this one is, the pink is called My Signature Color, which is a Pretty in Pink, which is a Steel Magnolias reference. And then purple is Purple People Eater, and this color is Let's Make a Teal. So yeah, I love this so much. I want to keep it for myself, but I don't normally wear my shawls. But let's just see. I'm probably going to keep this. Yeah, I'm keeping this, and I'm making another one. I love it. This is probably my favorite thing I've ever knit, and I hated knitting it. Like, literally hated. There's a few mistakes in here. I hate 2-color brioche. There's a brioche mistake in here somewhere. I hated purling. I hated the slipping. I hated this shawl. I love it. I absolutely adore it. And I want to make another one. It's really hot up here. But I can't stop talking about it because I love it so much. And it's on sparkle. Look at all. Let's see if we can get... sparkle's blowing out. Let's see, you can see some of it. Oh my gosh. So anyway, if you want one of these kits, let me know. I'm probably going to go get some really good photographs up and put dyed to order kits in the shop. I love it. Now I can't guarantee the shade colors will be the same, but I'll do my best to make them the same. But it's been a long time since I dyed this. But yeah, I would love to dye another. I want to make another one in this color because I like it so much. Okay, moving on. Blocked this, which really I just soaked it and laid it out. Let it do its own thing. This is that gradient that I used. It's 1 skein over 900 yards. And you know, I was thinking about it the other day because I have like 4 or 5 more. I think 3 or 4 more. Yeah, right here. And I was thinking about it the other day and I was trying to think what else I could make besides shawls because this is too big. Like, I don't want another shawl this big. But I was thinking I could make a cotton summer top because it's a cotton acrylic blend. So I was thinking about finding a t-shirt pattern with cotton yarn and maybe knitting a t-shirt out of it because I have plenty of yarn. I don't know. I gotta think about that. But anyway, so this is, yeah, so it's 4 strands and 1 strand changes out at each color change for a very subtle gradient shift. This is not a published pattern. It was just some different stitch patterns with a basic increase. So this is garter. This is a mix between garter and stockinette. Seed stitch, which I hated doing the seed stitch. Eyelet, and then it repeated garter, stockinette, seed stitch, eyelet, garter, stockinette, seed stitch, eyelet. So yeah, I really did not enjoy making this one, to be honest. It only took me like a week to make, and considering it's like 900 yards, it wasn't too bad. But I did get bored with it, and I hated doing the seed stitch sections and the lace sections. So I want to find something else to make with the rest that I have. So I was thinking about making a couple summer tops. This one, I was gifted yarn, and it's my first Brooklyn tweed yarn in the query. It's a query base, and I was gifted this yarn by from Mercy from Bria Knits. Hi Mercy, if you guys have not checked out her podcast, she's Bria Knits on YouTube and Instagram, and I love her podcast so much. I think she just came out with another one last week that I need to watch ASAP. But anyway, I knit this cowl, and it is a Brooklyn tweed pattern, and I loved it. It only took me like a day or two, and I was dying in between, and I think it's a great gift, and it's pretty unisex. I have a really round neck, so it doesn't sit right on me, but it's super cute, and I really like it, and it was easy, and it's a faux cable, so it's not real cabled. So I finally, little hair flip. I finally blocked and woven the ends on that. And then you guys have seen these before. This is my second Whip It Thursday finished object, which were some socks, cabled socks. Don't remember the name of the pattern, but it was in the episodes when I was knitting these. I do know the patterns from Michelle Hunter from Knit Pearl Hunter. And the yarn is Crazy Zauberball in the Flora Rose colorway, I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, you can't really see the cable pattern because it's blowing out. That's all of the knitting I wanted to show. I'm going to get into a little bit of chit chat. So I know I didn't really go into a whole lot of chit chat last time, and I'm actually going to turn this off for this section because I don't need it. And it's blinding me, and it was getting annoying with the ring lights. A lot has happened. I didn't really get into the chit chat last time because I was on a time crunch. We were waiting on my sister-in-law to get here with her kids so that we could take them to Kings Island. My niece was downstairs in the living room talking to a friend on the phone. Jason was outside mowing. It was a bad podcast overall. I was going through a lot, and I'm still going through some stuff which I'm not ready to talk about. I will eventually, but not right now. If you want to know more about that, you can follow me on Instagram because when I'm feeling up to it, I do post about it on there. Everything's fine. I'm fine. I'm just going through some stuff that I need to work through. Yeah. So that happened that weekend, and it has pretty much been very crazy ever since, between dyeing yarn and birthday parties and for my nieces and nephews, my niece and nephews, which it hasn't been her birthday yet. So, but anyway, we've been doing a lot of stuff around the house. So one weekend, I think, was it that same weekend? Was it the weekend after? I think it was that same weekend. So that Saturday, no, that was a Monday. That was on Memorial Day. So was it a Monday? Everything's running together. No, that was a Sunday because Saturday we went to Fort Wayne. Sunday, which I didn't talk a whole lot about, but I did tell you who I met up with, and it was just a fabulous time. But the next day we went to Kings Island, and it was hot, and it was ridiculous, and my sister-in-law had just had surgery 2 weeks before. So she was crazier for being out in that heat with 2 babies. So I was really trying to just help her and keep track of the babies. And they're babies as in they're like 2 and 3. So, so we did that. And then, that was Memorial Day weekend. And I think on Memorial Day, Memorial Day was supposed to be my day to relax. And then my brother-in-law texted me and said that he was, oh my gosh, Memorial Day, that he wanted to go cabrewing, which is like where you go canoeing and you drink beer. But I mean, he wasn't going to drink, but he was going canoeing. And he just got a little puppy, and he asked if I could watch him for the day. And I was like, of course, because he would do it for us. In fact, he has done it for us in the past. So I ended up dog sitting, and Jason got a new job, and his start date was the day after Memorial Day, which was a Tuesday. And he needed new tires on his car really badly. So we went and we waited to put new tires on his car. We went grocery shopping. By the time we got home, we had to do like some stuff around the house. So it was a busy Memorial Day. And then, you know, I had to work all week after that, and getting adjusted to Jason being working outside of the house was different because he does do a lot around the house when he's home. And I was trying to do some of the stuff that he does so that he didn't have to worry about it when he got home, because he does have a long commute. And it's, whereas he used to log off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and be done, now he gets off between, you know, 4:30, 5:30, and doesn't even get home until 5:30 or 6 o'clock at night. So I was trying to get into a new routine with that. And I think we had one weekend where I just didn't do anything. We did stuff like, I think we ended up going shopping because I had to get some new tennis shoes. I ended up getting a new bathing suit. And we ended up doing, we did yard work. We had to go and get mulch, and I mulched while Jason mowed the grass. I had to trim back shrubs that were taller than me, and it wasn't fun. It was super hot, and I thought I was going to pass out. So we did that, and I kind of took a week to just kind of, I call them mental health days, but they weren't really mental health days because I worked during the day. I just took the night to not worry about Instagram or podcasting or the shop, and I just knit. So that was fantastic because I really needed that. So that was one week. And then last weekend we went to my nephew's birthday party, which he turned 2. And my other nephew turned 3 a few months before that, and then my youngest nephew turned 2 this past weekend. So we went to a birthday party on Saturday, which wasn't fun because it was really hot, like really, really hot, and it was a pool party, so it was outdoors. And it was it had been, I think it was like 100 degrees before the humidity, and we have really severe humidity right now. Like 95, 96, 97% humidity. So it's been crazy hot here. And then Sunday we went to my dad's for Father's Day, and I already kind of told you about how that went. Which leads us to yesterday. I took the day off from work because our house was kind of messy because we hadn't been home this weekend. So I took the day off and I cleaned the house, got caught up on laundry, and then I dyed some yarns. So I dyed the June Yarn of the Month clubs. They are dry, they are skeined. I just need to label them, and I'm waiting on the charms to come. Once the charms come, I'll be shipping those out. It's the 19th and they're done, which is crazy because I've been sending them out on the 25th every month. For like the last 3 months because I've been so far behind, which, I mean, the 25th is my guaranteed ship date. So I've been hitting that every month, but it's just, I've been at the 25th. So this month, because all my club orders close on the 15th at midnight, and then they are guaranteed to ship by the 25th. So I have 10 days to dye, skein, label, make the charms, and package the orders. So they're done. It's the 19th and they're done, but I gotta still make the charms. I'm waiting for them to come in the mail. Hopefully they come today, or hopefully they come tomorrow so I can get these out. So I dyed that up, and then I have 2 collaborations that I can talk about. I have another one that's coming down the line that I can't talk about yet. But I have 2 collaborations. One is with Stitching Plaza, and she is making a knitting bag, and I believe it's her small size. And then I am dyeing yarn to match. And then Knit for Brains, I reached out to them and asked them if they would like to do a collaboration. And they went fabric shopping. It was crazy because I think I talked to Laura on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. By that Friday, she was fabric shopping with Alicia, and they picked out the fabric. And then that day, Laura went home and cut out all the bags and started sewing them up. She had like half of them sewn before the end of the weekend. And then she just told me she's going to have the rest of them sewn by probably Friday. So she is a machine. Alicia is going to be making some charms. And then I dyed up samples for both Stitching Plaza and Knit for Brains yesterday. And I sent them pictures today and got their okay. So I am going to spend Thursday dyeing up the rest of the yarn for the kits. And in addition to that, there's something else I wanted to talk about. Countess Ablaze, I don't know if you guys follow her, but she made a colorway called If I Want Exposure, I'll Get My Tits Out. And she donated that money to a women's charity. And I don't know what charity because she's in the UK, but you can go and follow her to figure out what charity that got donated to. But she sold a ton of skeins. She donated 3 pounds of every sale, and she was able to raise over 3,000 pounds. So she sold over 1,000 skeins of yarn of that one colorway, which is like, I sold 200, which I mean, it's great, but I can't imagine by the time I was at 200, I was like, I love that colorway, but I was getting tired of dyeing it. So I can't imagine what dyeing 1,000 skeins of the same colorway is like. But there was an incident with another dyer. I don't know who it is. I haven't seen the yarn. I haven't seen the account, that had purchased one of her skeins and then copied it and sold it in their shop. And this was very frustrating for her because her skein was a charity listing. So she was trying to do something good, and so she was a little bit frustrated that that had happened. So what she did is she opened it up to all indie dyers, challenging them to not only create their own version of the same colorway, but to donate at least 3 pounds of every skein in profit, which for US is about $4 and which is about $3.98. So about $4 US to a charity of their choice. There are a couple restrictions surrounding that, and you can go check out her page to find out what they are. Like, you have to let her know what your version name is, how much per skein that you're donating, and also what charity you're supporting. So and also your shop name. So I emailed her and told her I would be interested in joining in, and she accepted it. And so I know she has over 100 indie dyers that are doing this. And there have been a ton of people say, you know, they're going to try to get as many as they can. Some indie dyers are doing pre-orders, some are doing ready to ship. I'm doing a mixture of the two, so I'm going to have a small batch of pre-orders ready to go, a few in each of my bases, and then I will put up pre-orders if those sell out. Actually, I'll probably go ahead and put up pre-orders because typically I only do 2 to 3 skeins of each base, so that way if one base sells out, you can pre-order it. And we're all launching them on July 1st, and it'll be open until... I'm leaving mine open until July 31st, and I'm donating all the proceeds on August 1st. The charity that I'm supporting is the National Women's Law Center, and they do a lot of work surrounding women's equal rights in the workplace, or discrimination cases, sexism cases, and basically anything to do with that. So I felt like this was... the right charity to donate to. I'm donating at least $5 from every skein sold. I would like to do more, but I have to really sit down and look at my costs because what happened was when I did my last donation skein, I did not calculate my costs correctly. And I also did free shipping. So I ended up spending a lot of money out of my own pocket for supplies and shipping costs. And while I don't mind that, it pretty much ate into all of the shop profits I had saved up for a while. So I am trying to make sure that I am not cutting myself short on that, but she requires 3 pounds, which again is $3.98 or 90 some cents US. So I am at least rounding mine up to $5 per skein, and I will let you know if I can go above that or not. But yeah, so that is what I am going to be dyeing up this week between the 2 collaborations and that colorway. Also, I have some new sock kits that are going to be released starting in July. I don't know exactly when in July because I've got to get these collaborations done first. But I'm going to be doing a Disney Princesses sock kits, which I'm really excited about. So I'm going to release probably 2 or 3 a week. Probably going to release 2 or 3 every couple weeks between the beginning of July and the end of August. So I'm hoping to have about 6 sock kits in the set. And yeah, I'm excited. I am introducing a new cashmere base to my shop, which will be available for both collaborations I'm doing. However, it will not be available for the sock kits, the Disney Princesses sock kits, because they don't have cashmere minis. So my supplier doesn't as of yet. If they end up having them in stock before I do the kits, then I will have those as an option. But as of right now, it'll just be Sparkle, Queen, and Worker. So I plan on dyeing those up over the coming weeks. So those are my shop plans for between now and September 1st. So I think that's it. So I have to go into today I went and had lunch with my husband, and then I came home, worked a little more, and then I went to a doctor's appointment, and then I had to get an x-ray on my foot because I have been having some pretty severe foot pain. I mentioned this a while back, and I've got some really great recommendations on tennis shoes, and I actually took a few of those recommendations, and it didn't help. I purchased quite a few pairs of shoes, and none of them helped until about 2 weeks ago. I purchased a pair of Nike Airs, I believe they were, which I had tried on before, but they felt too tight on my feet. But I tried them again, and I was able to wear them comfortably, and it has severely decreased the amount of pain that I have when I'm outside walking or out and about. But I still get a lot of pain from walking around the house and doing things around the house. So I had an x-ray. My doctor thinks it might be a bone spur. So I had an x-ray today to confirm or deny that. So hopefully I can get that taken care of so that I can actually walk when I go to Las Vegas. So that was fun today. And it poured down rain when I was going from appointment to appointment, and then I came home and I finished working around 5 o'clock, and I cleaned the house. I scanned up some yarn, took some pictures, and then I took like a little half-hour break to just browse Instagram, and then I went and got some coffee and came back and podcasted, and now it's like 10 o'clock at night. So anyway, that's been my couple weeks of catch up, because I know I haven't podcasted in a while, and when I have podcasted, I haven't really talked about what's been going on. So yeah, so if you guys have any questions or comments over anything that I talked about in today's podcast, feel free to comment below, or you can message me on Revelry or Instagram. All of where you can find me will be listed below, as well as at the beginning of this video. And I think that's it. So have a great day, guys, and have a great knitting week, and I can't wait to come back and show you everything that I finish between now and next week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Never fails. I always forget something. I mentioned the Knit for Brains fandom cowl that's going on. So my hitchhiker that I showed, actually I didn't show it today because I realized it had fallen on the floor and I didn't see it. But I knit a hitchhiker using my hands are full. Copper Beaches colorway. I'm going to get some photos of it tomorrow, and I'm going to enter it into the Knit for Brands Fandom Cal, which ends on, what day does it end? I think on the last day of June. So if you have anything fandom related, make sure that you go out and you enter it into their Cal for some amazing prizes. And I know in this episode I mentioned somewhere that there was something else I wanted to enter in. Oh, my Outlander shawl. I don't think I'll get it done in time, but on the off chance that I do, I'm definitely going to enter that one in as well. So stay tuned. I just wanted to film a short clip to show you guys something. So I can't put this on Instagram yet because not everybody has received this, but this is the mystery skein yarn that I dyed up when I was helping to raise money for my friend's family. And I wanted to show you how my different bases dye up. So first of all, this is my Queen Bee base. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. This is my sparkle base. It's 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. And then this is my worker bee base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And I use the same amount of dye concentration for all three, but you can see the difference in how the yarn takes up the dye. So there's two factors that could contribute to this, and I'm not exactly sure which one. Maybe it's both. The first thing that I'm my hypothesis is that it's either the nylon content or the ply. So these two are 2-ply yarns and this is a 4-ply yarn. And obviously this one has a lot more nylon in it than these two do. So it's either the nylon or the ply that causes the colors to look a little more saturated. And personally, I always prefer to keep a skein of the more saturated colors just because that's the type of coloring that I like. But the worker bee base is really good for socks and hats and tough wearing things that kind of need to hold up. Whereas these two are really good. I mean, you can use them for socks. There's nothing wrong with that. But they're mainly for shawls and scarves and other garments like sweaters, things like that. But I just kind of wanted to show you that difference and how the dye takes depending on the wool versus nylon content or the ply. If anybody knows any more information about this and maybe why that happens, because like I said, I use the same amount of dye concentration every time I dye, so I'm not exactly sure why it comes out so much lighter than the other bases. But yeah, so that's all I had.